you're going to age. No ifs, ands, or about it. Think about it. When people are young, they can't wait to be 16 so they get a license. They can't wait to be 18 because they can drink. They can't wait to be 21. Then when you get to 21, what is it? Oh, I can't wait to be 30, 40. Many people whine and cry. I'm going to be 30. It's so bad. I'm going to be 40. Hey, I'm just happy to be alive each day and breathe. I'm looking forward. Hopefully I get to my 63rd birthday. I just think it's a frame of mind of a person that when you're getting older, there's so many still beautiful things you can do. There's nothing you can't do at 70 that you can't do in your 20s. We're talking about sex. We're talking about work. We're talking about travel. Obviously, your health plays a big part. The way you take care of yourself when you're younger is going to affect the way you take care of yourself when you're older. It's also going to affect your health. There are many things that are hereditary. I'm not taking that away. But people don't consider that. They always think, I can do better. Or I'm going to. A good example, I work with a priest. And this was years ago. Throughout his whole life, he lost over 800 pounds. He always said, well, Dennis, I did it once. I could do it twice. My response was, Father, do you realize the effect it's had on your heart, your kidneys? You have diabetes. You have all these different things. So you might feel it's an accomplishment, which it is to some small degree, but you still set yourself up for failure. So it's taking care of yourself when you're younger so that you have an opportunity to take care of yourself when you're older. It's not just about getting old. It's about the journey to getting there. And always keep your mind engaged. That's the most important. Not just with the television, with the book, other people. Other people, it's important to engage. I like to talk to people. Hell, most people think who the hell's this idiot? But I will engage you in anything because I like to learn. I like to have fun. But if I get an opportunity, I'd like to learn something about you. You might not care about anything about me. That's not the point. I like to learn, but it also keeps me engaged, keeps my mind going because the voices in my head, and believe me, I do have voices in my head, I'm not joking, being smart, that are conflicting with every issue in life. But it's just about engagement is what I believe is the right thing to do. Not easy, but it's something that's the right thing to do.
And that leads us into our next question, number 12. What are the psychological benefits of active social engagement for the elderly?
Makes you feel good about yourself. It makes you feel wanted. It makes you feel desired. We're not talking about sex. We're talking about desired by others. People want to hear what you have to say. People want to learn from you. But also it's fun. You tell stories. You engage. My mom's place, she had a group of 4 ladies. They all ate together. First time I ever sat down, one lady goes, you're the black sheep. I'm like, what the hell? My mom looks at me and goes, she doesn't know what she's talking about. I'm like, Mom, the only way and I've said this before, the only way she knew I was a black sheep was because you said something. But the reality is, when I was around them, they were snarky to each other. These people were mean. My mother thought she was ahead of everything. That's Bob. Bob's wife left him 20 years ago. Bob's wife. That's Susan. She's having an affair with Jim. I'm like, well, how old's Susan? She's 80. How old's Jim? 92. I'm like, what the fudge? So you engage. You have fun. These ladies would sit around and badmouth everybody. But to them, wasn't badmouthing. They're just letting you know the story. It was adorable to hear them talk. They called me Denny because my mother called me. They like Denny, You don't want to sit next to that lady. She's not nice. And I'm thinking, you're bad-mouthing this lady. This one lady said to me, a dear friend of mine, she goes, we're not bad-mouthing anybody, Denny. We're telling you the truth. It was hilarious. So they need to engage, communicate. Don't isolate. That's one thing that affects mental health. And talk about what you learn. Talk about your likes, your dislikes, all those different things. But the one thing I realized, even though it was a little annoying at times, they were talking. Their minds were working. Whether they were diabolical little old ladies, but their minds were working, and you could tell that they enjoyed the conversation. Because the one thing I knew from sitting with my mom and her friends, each one of them could not wait for the other person to stop talking so they can have an opinion. And I just had to sit there and pray to Jesus I could leave. Yes. I wish I was still able to go there, though.
Absolutely. Yeah, your mom sounds awesome. I love hearing that. Those conversations with her and her friends. All right, number 13. How does the perception of aging in society influence individual mental health outcomes?
We live in a society where everybody thinks about people being young are the ones who make things happen. Well, you think about it, the greatest companies, the greatest inventions were by people who are older. They might have invented it when they were younger. They've perfected it as they got older. Some of the greatest minds in technology, in politics, in religion, and philosophy are older men and women here and throughout the world. I think that's something that many people don't really look at. that it doesn't matter your age. Again, it's going back to the same thing. I'm dealing with someone who's a therapist in her 60s, and she's going back to school. She's going to get her master's, and she's having a blast. She's engaging with people. She thought because she was divorced and had 4 kids who were all adults and all in the medical field, but she's meeting new people. She's having a blast. Her husband passed away. She's like, I don't know what my husband would think. Well, if your husband would think that you should just sit home and not do anything, what a shitty husband he was. But you have to go out and engage and meet people, continue doing things, continue to challenge yourself. And I think a lot of times in our society, we look at people who are older. Oh, well, they're old. We try to throw them away. There's ageism. People lose jobs because they turn a certain age. People are turned down because they have a certain age. Everybody wants a young energy. Really? I work in an industry. All the young men and women who are in my industry, whether they're licensed therapists or different positions, no, none of them I would hire because they still haven't experienced life. They've read a book, they passed a test, they become a licensed person, but you got to have some life experience, not just read a damn book in order to help a human being. So I think it's shitty what this country does in many ways, and many countries getting rid of their elderly. When you throw the elderly away, it's kind of like me. I've got a jacket I've had 40-something years. It was my mother's. That jacket gives me such a smile and a feel good. Why would I throw it away? And why do people throw away the elderly? That's the shitty question. And there are many people who don't have an answer.